Without risk, there is no reward. McLaren opened the door, Charles Leclerc walked straight through it to the rapturous applause of the Tifosi and the crowd here at the Italian Grand Prix. We're going to go through it all on your post-race show coming up in a few moments here on F1 TV.
Forget Max Verstappen versus Lando Norris. Forget Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri, for now at least. Today belongs to the Tifosi. Today belongs to Ferrari. It belongs to that man right there. Charles Leclerc has secured perhaps the sweetest victory of all. His second around this evocative, historic, romantic racetrack that holds the weight of so much history and pressure and privilege for Ferrari drivers. And it is with an unbelievable strategy call. It is with sheer guts, extreme driver skill to manage those tyres. Davide, Charles Leclerc crosses the line in first place, seemingly from nowhere. We were so diverted by the fight between the McLaren drivers, where Max may fall in this race. And yet Ferrari have triumphed at the place where it matters, where it means the most.
Mamma mia, Laura, today was just special. 38 laps with the same tires, our compound. He was one of the first drivers to stop early in the race, and then how he managed these tires to the end was just unbelievable. And then let me see that Ferrari was just perfect in the strategy, perfect in the pit stop. While the rivals makes some mistake, they were just perfect, and then incredible level of the driver style for Leclerc. He managed to win an unbelievable race. He already done it before, but I think that this year for him was special. Monaco and Monza. What else?
I was going to say, Charles Leclerc seems to win at these places and in these moments of his life where it matters so much, where the emotional meaning of it is just so deep. And we heard his radio at the end. He was beside himself with excitement, perhaps because he felt he would get caught. He's seen that his teammate got caught by both McLaren drivers. He felt, oh, Oscar's coming for me. Oscar was flying today. But ultimately, he secures it here. And that emotion came through so strongly.
Yeah, I agree with you. The level and the skills that show in the last few laps was unbelievable, because we need to consider that Sainz stopped later than him. He had 4 less lap on his tires, and he was struggling with the degradation on the front left, while Leclerc, having more laps on these tires, remains so constant with the lap times and made the difference, a huge difference. Also in the mentality of the driver, if you can maintain the consistency, and Piastri behind, see that he's reaching you, but it's not enough. Every lap is not enough. He needs to push more. At the end, he loses the effort, and Leclerc made it. It was special. And also from the guys in the pit, from the crew, from the Ferrari, that sometimes they are criticized in Italy because maybe they are good, but it's never enough. Today they shown that they were perfect. Both pit stop, they were unbelievable, while Red Bull struggling in it. McLaren was lower with one of the driver. Let me say, bravissimi.
Beautiful, beautiful from Ferrari today. But look, there are going to be questions for McLaren, and we've got those questions right now. Here's Zach Brown.
Zach, a double podium for McLaren, but it looked like a 1-2 was on the cards for so long there. Can you talk us through what happened?
That was close. Ferrari took a gamble on their going one stop, and it worked. Well, it worked on Charles, and hats off to him. He drove brilliant. They were fast. Charles was always in the race, so we didn't think we could do it. And it was close there at the end, just a few laps short.
So it took you by surprise then, their tactics?
Well, not by surprise, because we were discussing it, but we felt it was best not to try, and they did, and you know, I think they had nothing to lose in trying that strategy because the worst that would happen would be P3, but it worked for them, and hats off, and it's always kind of nice to see a Ferrari win in Monza.
Can we go back to the very start of the race? Obviously very close between Lando and Oscar into that second chicane. Were there any rules heading into the race? What did you say to them beforehand?
Yeah, just don't touch, and they didn't. So it was good, hard racing. You know, that's what happens when you have two number ones. They want to both win the race, and so it was clean.
And we heard papaya rules come up on the radio. Can you just clarify what exactly that means in a race?
Race each other respectfully and give each other enough room, and don't touch each other, and that's exactly what they did.
Is there a feeling, or slight feeling, that it might be a chance missed in the Drivers' Championship, this one?
We're just focused on getting the best results that we can, and we're doing that every weekend. And you know, Lando had his mistake there where he ran a bit long, so that kind of put him out of contention. So we let him race to the end.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks very much to Zach Brown answering Mike Seymour's questions there. We'll come on to McLaren and what might not have gone quite so well for them today in a moment. For now, though, we have Alex Albon, who has scored points. Season equaling best as well, result for today. Talk me through that race, and how intense it was out there.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a strange race because we were actually by ourselves for most of the race. But we had Kevin, who was really fast, pulling away. He had a 10-second penalty. Sorry, he had a 10-second penalty, so he was gapping us quite convincingly. At the same time, I had Fernando catching me on a two-stop. So even though I was alone on track, there was a proper race being had, and had to minimise the gap from Kevin, as well as the Jaws music from Fernando coming from behind. So I think one more lap we would have lost 2 positions because it was that close. So very happy.
How difficult was it to manage those tyres out there?
I really struggled. I don't know how it was for everyone else. I felt strangely quite comfortable on the medium tyre, but then on the hard tyre, I think we had a bit too much cooling on the tyres, and I couldn't keep the front left in a good workplace. I had to really manage to stop the tyre from graining, and I could see cars around me just pushing flat out and not graining. So graining was the devil today.
It was very much a point of sore point for a lot of other drivers as well. You'll hear. Davide.
Yeah, it seems that this man was able to build the weekend from Friday, because already on Friday we realized, Albon is going to fight for points, and then he never disappointed.
Thank you.
It seems that from Friday you realize immediately, this is a track where I can do good.
Sometimes when everything's going good, you feel there's almost an expectation and a pressure to deliver. I think we had it in Zandvoort, almost less pressure because we had a surprise P9 in qualifying. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out to materialize with a penalty. I felt like, you know, all of us were bitterly disappointed. We missed out on an opportunity, and actually our championship rival Alpine ended up scoring points, so it was almost a double hit in the face. We came here, we knew we had a chance to score points, and as you said, FP1 was good, FP2 was good, FP3 qualifying. So then it's up to you to do the job in the race, and there were points in that race. I thought it's gonna be P11, but you know, we don't give up. And the tyres, they just came back to me in the last 3 laps, and that was just enough to hold off everyone else.
Can we have a word for Franco as well, your new teammate, P12 for him on debut on a race in which tyre management, which we know is as a working point for drivers, especially coming into F1.
Very impressive.
He executed a great race.
I used all my experience to save the front left tyre, and he's done it in his first race, so well done to him. I think he's been instantly on pace, but more than anything, it's his mentality around his approach to the weekend has been very impressive. He's been very calm, very relaxed. You could imagine all the cameras on him. A lot of the things he has to do on a Thursday, Friday, and he's been able to kind of distance himself from it all and focus on the job, and he's done a great job.
Well, thank you very much. One just quick word on Baku.
Yes.
Obviously, Zandvoort, a surprisingly good result. Here you expect it to go well. Baku?
50-50. I think we have an upgrade coming. If it makes Baku, let's see. When that upgrade comes, I think everything's going to just come up a little bit together. I felt like even today, this weekend, we were limited by our balance in the car. We've had this balance all year. We don't like the balance. We're hoping this upgrade will just tidy that bit up a little bit. And And if it can, I think we'll make a step. But we'll have to wait and see.
Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank
well
you.
done today to you and to Franco as well. Points for Williams then. Okay, very excited now to invite an F3 champion, Leonardo Fornaroli, into the studio. Davide could have probably pronounced that with more Italian fervour than I did, but
Well, perfect. Fornaroli. Bravo.
Fornaroli. My goodness me, what a day you have had. To do it on Italian soil as well, and in the manner in which you did with that last gas move. How on earth are you feeling? Has it even begun to sunk in for you?
Yeah, it's a special feeling for me to do it here in Monza, in front of the home crowd, in front of my family, all my friends. I cannot speak. Like I never felt this in my life. It was the first time that I was fighting for such an important championship.
Here's the move as well.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
So I had a good start. We went a bit more conservative with the balance compared to yesterday. So Alex was faster than me in the first phase of the race. So I decided to let him by to stay in his DRS. Then we had the safety car. I saw in that period that the Ascari chicane was full of dust, but I wasn't expecting it to be so slippery. So right after the restart,
The little mistake, right?
yes, I did the normal line, but it was super slippery, and I completely lost the rear, and I lost 3 positions. So there I had to completely change the approach to the race. And
At that moment, the championship was lost. So he was forced to do the last maneuver at the last corner.
absolutely, yes.
Nothing in that moment, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You had to risk it all.
Yeah, I lost 2 positions in the second last lap because my tires were a bit gone. Then as to my engineer, am I still champion? He said, no, absolutely, you have to overtake Mansell in front of you. So I said, okay, I have the last lap to do it. And so I tried the first time in the second chicane, but I completely locked up and we both went straight. Then, of course, I stayed behind him. I knew basically the last chance was in Ascari, but he defended very well, so couldn't get it. Going to last corner, I said, okay, this is the last chance. I tried to go on the inside, and luckily he saw me. It was very fair and correct to leave the space, and yeah, I managed to take the podium and the title in the last corner.
Extraordinary. Congratulations. We're thrilled for you. F3 world champion. Congratulations. Leonardo, we'll let you go and celebrate, I'm sure, with friends, family, and really soak this one in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
well done
much.
to you. Great stuff. Well, what brilliant racing we have seen today. Honestly, F2 and F3 were both wild races, and then in F1 we saw this real strategical battle. I think we're going to bring Will Buxton into the studio now. Will, wowee.
I didn't win
How was
the
that
F3
podium?
championship.
No, he didn't, unfortunately.
What a nice lad.
Yeah, lovely.
And what a racer. What a brilliant end to that race. Podium was amazing. Just the atmosphere here is incredible. You always want to be the other side of the fence. You want to be on the grid. I did that 20 years ago when I was starting out and got on the side of the Ferrari flag. To be there and experience that, if you ever get the chance to come to Monza, do it, because to experience that kind of emotion it's very, very special here.
There's nothing quite like it really in motorsport, indeed sport, is that? It's what makes it so special, and why Charles Leclerc standing on top of that podium means all the more. Let's take it right back, though, to the race start. And all eyes at that point were on Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri and George Russell, looming behind them, bearing down on both of them. And it was a good start from Lando. He got the job done into turn 1 after this incredibly long run too there as well.
Yeah, he had a good start. He was on the outside because the poleman is there. He completely crossed the line and he covered the position. Both of the McLaren, they started well. Probably Russell was too close to avoid. He was forced to cut. In this moment, for Lando Norris was the perfect race, leading after the first chicane. But then, look the maneuver of Piastri. Took the toe, and then on the outside, he breaks too deep. It's so easy to miss that corner, but look, I was able to turn the car, to stay into the water line, and to make this unbelievable overtake, probably the maneuver and the move of the season.
Yeah.
Incredible move. And then Norris lost also the position to Leclerc and give the chance to Ferrari and Leclerc to think something different. And probably the victory was gone there.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, so Oscar Piastri takes the lead there. I think for anyone coming into this weekend thinking, right, the title fight is on, potentially in the drivers' standings, although it would take a gargantuan effort from Lando Norris, near perfect weekends, and Max Verstappen to fall away, definitely on in the constructor standings. You have to question, therefore, why McLaren aren't nominating #1 driver as Lando Norris in the bid to win a double title.
You know my feelings on that,
I'm gonna
but I
press
think
pause
they'll
on
be
them.
safe because I can see someone's about to come in here who we definitely want to talk to because
We
he had
definitely do, yeah.
a great drive today, 14 seconds behind his teammate who you've just had on here, Alex Albon. Great drive, man. Great first race. Well done. Well done.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Franco. Well done to you.
You've seen me on the parabolic and you said, Yum!
Yeah, you were the guy.
I was not as quick as Lando,
You were
but I
joking
was
with me, but
trying.
anyway.
I tried and I almost lost it. And I said, okay, I hope he was watching. But,
Franco, well done. P12, first Formula One race, done.
Yeah.
Box has been ticked. And it's one in which you had to manage those tyres. Alex Albon's just been on. He said he had to use every ounce of his entire driving experience. This is your first race weekend. Can you sum up how challenging this was?
yeah, it was challenging. I think, a lot of question marks before the race. We know many things. The most laps I've done in a row before was 8 in FP1, and then FP2 I couldn't do a high fuel run. So
Amazing.
it was only one high fuel run, and that was it. And the process has been very, very quick. I couldn't do a good prep. I just got told on Tuesday I was doing it. On Monday I was in the F2 sim, and then suddenly I got called for the F1, and everything went very quick. But I think, looking at how the prep was, the job was done. Of course, yesterday I did a little mistake in quali where I lost a chance into going into Q2. I think would have been a good position to start otherwise, and maybe chance for points, maybe not. I don't know. I only finished a couple of seconds behind Alex, so it was positive, and the pace was very good. As I said before, it was a bit of a question mark, the pace. I didn't know exactly how the tires were going to react. But to be honest, the engineers stayed, on top of everything. They helped me a lot with the tools to keep the tires alive and under control with the temps. And it was a positive race overall. I felt quite confident. I think the car has been strong all weekend. But yeah, luckily I could, after all the trust and after all investment that Williams has been putting on me and helping me to be ready for F1, the trust of James of putting me into a seat, giving them a good performance in my first race, it's a great way to start. It's a great way to start to building on to the next few races. It's true that now there comes 7 races that I don't know the track, so it's not great news, I think. It's a bit tough, but also on the other hand, it was a good moment to do your debut, a track that I know quite well. It was only one thing to learn this weekend, was only the car. Now I know the car, still one thing to learn that will be the tracks for the next couple of races, but also a lot of prep to be done in the sim. I can have now 2 weeks to prepare for the next round and be a lot more strong. So overall happy, of course. Everything has been going very quick. A lot of things I have been trying to adapt and stuff like that, but I am happy with the performance. If you tell me I would have finished P12, I would have been very happy. Would have been happier if you would have told me I would have finished with a bit less pain than what I have now, but it is what it is. So.
This is what I like about young drivers. They give proper, full answers.
Yeah, sorry.
You've answered every single question
brilliant.
we have for next
one
week,
thing,
how your
one thing I want to know.
Gunnar is upset because I just spend too much time in the TV pen, but it will change.
Trust me, no,
Change,
from the broadcast
don't change,
perspective, you can never spend too long in
Yeah.
the TV pen. They'll love you for that.
Okay.
One thing you're not going to have to learn is how an F1 weekend works,
Yeah.
because you've got that now. From
Yeah.
F2, from having one practice session, straight into qualifying, straight into feature, straight into sprint.
Yeah.
To have 3 practice sessions, to then have qualifying,
Yeah.
and to know that with each run you do in qualifying, everyone expects that leap forward from one set to the next set. How much of a learning curve was this weekend and all of that extra track time that you have before the race itself?
No, it was big. Imagine that I only did FP1 in Silverstone, and that was it. It was 1 hour there. I tried to maximize the laps I was gonna do, but I didn't do many. And the amount of knowledge and the amount of kilometers I've done this weekend, in the race mostly, it was, very, very big. I did a good step forward. The team has been, very, very helpful. They have been very supportive. Alex was here before. I've been following, everything he was saying. He gave me many tips. He was super helpful and very supportive as well. I had loads of questions and he was answering all of them. And yeah, it's just, happy to give back the team the performance they were expecting, and it's good to build on this. It's good to build on a good first race, and now a lot of information to take on to the next round. A lot of information to understand and to learn in what we can improve together.
Great job today.
Thank you.
Franco, thank you very much.
So much.
Well done to you, and best of luck for the week ahead as Will Buxton almost goes flying. We'll see you in Baku, Franco, for your second race weekend in Formula One. Okay, disappointing day then for Max Verstappen. It felt very much like damage limitation for Red Bull today. Let's hear from him.
Hey Max, pace of the car looked difficult out there. Heard some team radio messages, kind of just felt a bit frustrated. Just talk me through it.
To be honest, I wasn't really frustrated throughout the race. I was just doing my own race. The pace was not there, but yeah, we had a bad pit stop. I think that our strategy was not on point today, even though, of course, it wouldn't have changed our position. I think we could have done a better race in general. It doesn't help that you can't run full power for most of the race with the engine, because we had an issue. So yeah, all in all, a pretty bad race.
You mentioned obviously that engine issue, just the chassis generally, rest of the others. Just how are you feeling about the fact that things seem to be slipping a bit?
Yeah, it's really bad at the moment, and before Baku we have a lot of work to do to, basically change the whole car.
Right, thanks Max.
Well, Red Bull today then, P6 for Max Verstappen and P8 for Perez, starting on the hard tyre, thinking maybe they were doing a bit of a reverse strategy, but then pitting onto the hard tyre again, basically committing pretty early on in the midpoint of the race that they were going to be doing the two-stop, while Ferrari, of course, made that one-stop work. Interestingly there, that Max Verstappen said that there was an issue with the engine, couldn't run it to full power, but another tricky weekend for Red Bull.
Not easy at the moment for them at all to have that engine issue compound what I think was probably a misstep with the setup change they made from Friday into Saturday. We noticed the DRS effectiveness in that race wasn't as big as it has been in recent races. I think a lot of that's down to the extra scoops that they took out of that rear wing, obviously taking away some of that. So, yeah.
I tried for the one stop also.
Everyone did.
But they were not quick enough.
Couldn't do it.
You can rears up the speed, Max, and it was not.
And if you couldn't make the hards last as long as their first stint, it was too short. It was always too short.
I mean, and that puts Charles Leclerc's drive, and Carlos Sainz's as well,
stunning,
into another stratosphere altogether, doesn't it? The fact that Max Verstappen, George Russell, the tyre whisperer, no one else could do it. Let's hear from Lando Norris now, and then we're going to get into McLaren.
Hey Lando, that start was mega. I appreciate the rest of the race didn't quite pan out as you thought, but was the pace better, worse than expected? Is that kind of how you thought it might pan out?
I think the pace is probably as expected. I don't think we expected to be quicker than anyone else necessarily today. Actually, to be honest, maybe Ferrari were a bit better than we were expecting for sure, but not in terms of pace, just in terms of tyre wear. They could just manage the tyres better than we could. So we knew that. I think we knew coming into the race we were going to struggle a bit with management of the front left. It's a bit of our weakness at the minute. And they seem to just do a very good job. So yeah, hats off to Charles. He drove a good race.
I know you can convert pole into the win, but you've chipped more points out of Max's lead and a good points haul for the team as well. Can you take those positives, or is it too early to kind of think about that right now?
Yeah, but I can't be happy with a third, can I, starting from pole? So yeah, pretty crappy day from my side. But I sort of drove the best I could, obviously just didn't, some bits not good enough. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make up for just being not good enough in other parts of the racing, trying to get faster lap and stuff like that. 1 point's great, but being second or first is a lot easier to get points. So yeah, some things to clearly work on.
Thanks, Andy.
Oh, a disappointed Lando Norris, and we do hear him in interviews being incredibly hard on himself. I'm just not good enough in certain areas. Will today, we'll continue where we left off before we welcomed Franco in for a great chat with him. But if you're looking for a driver title fight, not prioritising Lando Norris, who is 70 points coming into this weekend behind Max Verstappen, how do you reflect on that? How do you see that?
It just doesn't make sense to me
Because
that you allow
Zach-
your drivers to fight. It doesn't make any sense to me. Did Oscar pull off one of the moves of the season? 100%. My word, that was a gutsy, brilliantly executed move. But how are McLaren allowing their drivers to be in a situation where they're fighting each other? You know, if you've got a 1-2 in the race, you're protecting that 1-2 because you're looking at the constructors' points that you want to bring in. And you then have to decide which of your drivers is more likely to win the World Championship with 9 races to go. They have the fastest car. Red Bull were on the back foot this weekend. We're not looking strong for a podium, and as it turned out, didn't even get a top 4, top 5 finish today. How are you not prioritizing the guy who's going to make the most out of this? How do you not even swap them on the last lap just to get a couple more points? Because you're not talking about giving away a victory at this point. It's a second place. Does it matter in the overall scheme of things? No, you're still bringing home the same number of points for McLaren. Why don't you? And this has nothing to do with my nationality, being British, the fact that I just want to see a championship fight. And I don't understand what McLaren are doing. I genuinely don't, and I haven't now for months, because none of it makes sense. The only thing that makes sense is that, listen, Oscar's contract, maybe somewhere in it, says that he has to have number 1, and this is why Zach keeps on saying we've got 2 number 1 drivers. Mark Webber's his manager, and Mark very famously didn't like having the number 2 status at Red Bull. Maybe there's something in the contract that says they have to be on equal footing all the time, but surely then there'd be a caveat in there that says, listen, unless we're in a championship position. But you can't wait until it's mathematically impossible for Oscar to win the championship. You have to be sensible, you have to be smart. And they're not being smart. And I don't get it. Like, it baffles me, because they're going to throw it away. And you don't get these chances every year. You don't know when your next opportunity is going to come around. And they're going to throw it away, and they'll deserve to at the moment, because they're just not playing it smart. And with Ferrari on the pace that they had today, being close in the constructors as well, there's no guarantee McLaren are going to walk away with it. They've got to be smarter. And we've been saying this months. It's for months, and it's getting, don't know how many more times we can keep saying it, because it's just frustrating. You can see for Lando, he was driving angry today. The mistakes he was making, overdriving the car, hitting the bollard on the way into the pits, that's a guy there who thinks he's been done over at the start of the race, and thinking, why are they not favoring? Why has this happened? How has this happened? You know? It's just, they're going to throw it all away.
And Lando also often blames himself, as we hear in
Yes, and it's
interviews.
not his fault.
And look, so now it's an 8-point lead Red Bull have over McLaren.
bring
It's
it
a
on. That's
39-point lead over Ferrari as well. There's been a 6-point swing to Lando Norris in the driver's standings. So he's now, maths, 64 points behind. If they'd swapped them on the final lap, it would have been a 9-point swing. Had they kept a 1-2, it's a different story. But look, let's hear from Oscar Piastri first, P2 today.
Oscar, hard luck. I know that you drove an incredible race. It looked like the win was there. Just sum up the emotions right now.
It's hard not to be very disappointed. Just hurts really. Drove a very good race. The 2-stop seemed like the best strategy at the time. The graining through the rest of the weekend was very tough, and as soon as we got it, it was very, very difficult to manage. I started getting graining on the first hard, and I felt like we would have enough pace difference on a new set of tyres to go and attack. Just a few laps too short.
When you were kind of put back out and you had that gap, at that point, did you think it was a bit too much to claw back?
I thought it would be tough, but I thought it would be possible. With the pace I had at the start, I think I was catching nearly 2 seconds a lap. Had a few people that weren't very helpful. Stroll was driving like he was in his first go-kart race. So that cost a couple of seconds, and just a bit painful. But I think we pretty much needed everything to go right in that last set of hards, and just ultimately wasn't quite enough.
Hard luck, Oscar.
Thank you.
Okay, so in standing here, and we're trying to dissect all that's going on after what was an eventful Monza, one in which Ferrari have won, and that podium still looks absolutely extraordinary. We did see Kevin Magnussen walk past earlier on, and for a man who's scored points and scored a point here for the first time in over a decade, he looked pretty furious. And I did wonder what quite was going on. We are hearing that when Haas have official information to share, they will do so at an appropriate time. But it's looking like Kevin Magnussen, who was close to 12 points, will not be in Baku.
So he was on 10, and you normally get 2 points for a 10-second penalty in the race, which he had, which would take him to 12. And I believe Haas are saying when we have information to share on who will replace Kevin in Baku, we will share it. So maybe another great opportunity for Ollie Behrman, who, of course, is racing for them next year. But yeah, it looks like Kev will be out of Baku.
Yeah, they didn't quite confirm that on the WhatsApp group, but I mean, it looks all but. Well, when they have official information, they will share it with us, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from Haas. Sam, though, is going to take a look at the incident. Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. It's a little bit of a minor incident, this one. You can see it on the screen behind me. I'm actually going to jump forwards a little bit because the accident happens just up here. Kevin Magnussen on the inside has a look up the inside of the Alpine. You can just see it off the screen there of Pierre Gasly. But if I come further forward here, you can see it off board much more clearly. Magnussen locks his inside front wheel up, and that's what actually causes the FIA to deem it to be his fault, this collision, because he was not in full control of his car at the time. And the reason that's important, this looks like a fairly insignificant incident, is that's gained him 2 penalty points of the maximum 12 points allowed for the season. We're just waiting for confirmation through, but the rules do say if you get 12 points, you get a 1-race ban. So, guys, back to you to discuss what happens next.
Thanks very much, Sam. Yeah, we've got an official race doc that's come through, Will, as well.
Document 57, driver number 20, Kevin Magnussen, car 20 collided with car 10 at the entry turn for decision, 10-second time penalty, which he had 2 penalty points, total of 12 for the 12-month period. That's the race ban.
Okay. Well, we'll wait and see what will happen come Baku. Davide, I just want to get your opinion before we wind it back. This is an eventful post-race, isn't it, on McLaren, on what Will was saying, how he doesn't understand why they aren't prioritising Lando Norris. Zach Brown, pre-race show, said to me, I said to him, Lando can win this from pole. And he said, well, Lando or Oscar can win. We have 2 number-1 drivers. And then they talk in the race of papaya rules. How does this all work internally in the garage between 2 drivers?
It's not easy. For the condition of Lando Norris, for sure it's not easy. After the first corner, I'm sure that he thought, today is my day, I need to manage the tires, clean first lap, no mistakes. And then as soon as he arrived at the second break, boom, Oscar Piastri on the outside. That move was amazing. We need to say it. But in terms of team, in terms of protecting the top 2 position, was like out of the limit. What is sure is that McLaren, at a certain point, probably he misjudged the situation. When he asked to Norris, when he told to Norris to the radio, papaya rules, you can fight Oscar Piastri. They underestimated the speed of the Ferrari at that point. I mean, they let the driver fight without thinking that Ferrari could win this race. And when they stop Oscar Piastri, that was leading so early, they give the chance to Ferrari to try. Yeah. And then you need to have the car, and you have to have a talent and a champion driver like Leclerc to do it. But they give them the chance. And then was a bit strange. I know that on Monday they are all hero, like Piastri said in the conference. But the mistake was...
But when you're in that position, Lando had already pitted. Okay, so the win's gone. He's got to make that time up. Oscar's leading the race. He isn't experienced in the deg yet. He's a little worried about the wear on the front left. But surely you wait to see what Ferrari do. Because you open the door for them. They gave them the win.
Probably no one was thinking that Ferrari could be so strong. Probably that.
But not for the first time this season. They have underestimated the challenge of others. They've not called it right in any way. And listen, when we're looking at Oscar and Lando, Oscar's going to go for it because racing drivers are, by their nature, inherently selfish. Not Davide, he's a sweetheart. But inherently selfish. And they have to be, because if you want to be a champion, you have to be selfish. Lando wanted to be selfish in Hungary, and they said, give it back to Oscar, because you're going to need him if you want to win the World Championship this year. Well, he needed him today, and he passed him. Because it's that mindset that they have. So in that case, you need the team to step in. They have to. And it's already too late.
Has to come from the management above. Well, look, we were talking about pit stops and whether they pulled the trigger at the wrong time in bringing Oscar Piastri in for that second stop. Alex Brundle is taking a closer look for us at the pit stop strategy today.
Well, they left the door open, didn't they, McLaren, right here when they pitted Piastri. But I don't think, I mirror your thoughts, guys, I don't think anybody expected Charles Leclerc to put in a 38-lap stint to win the Italian Grand Prix. I was listening into Charles Leclerc's radio for the end of the race, and it was astonishing. The communication going on to nurse those tyres, tarmac and tyre dexterity and intelligence on show down at Ferrari. Quite unbelievable. It focused in on two areas of the racetrack. Firstly, the amount of discussion going on around this first chicane to take out the big spike in the rear tyre energy that Leclerc was putting in. Now, it's always about where you don't use the tyre when you're trying to manage tyres to the end of a race like this. But it's also about where you do. At low speed, Charles was doing this all the way through the race, getting the lock in when that front tyre was moving across the road at extremely low speed. What did that allow him to do? He had it absolutely straight and took energy out of the rear tyre again when he went for it out of the chicane. It was a huge factor in how long he was able to take the tyre through the race. It kept that wheel spin away. All the drivers talking about left front graining as well. So this wheel spin removal from Charles Leclerc, brilliant driving to square the car off. But the real smart stuff was here. The Parabolica, turn 11, another area where the team were on to Leclerc almost every lap to take the energy out of that critical left front tyre. Watch him arc the steering wheel in so gently into the mid-corner in Parabolica, and then you could hear him waiting on the throttle. What he wants to not do here is push the left front tyre across the road and grain it. And as soon as he can get that steering out of the car, he takes it out so gently. The left front tyre never slips across the road. They managed it. Energy by energy, corner by corner, setting change by setting change to make sure they balance the energy of the car between the front tyres and the rear tyres and negotiated the full race distance on two sets of tyres. One stop for Charles Leclerc, punished McLaren for what I think was a strategic error today.
He's good, Brundle, isn't he?
Thank you very much indeed, Alex Brundle. And I love that, looking at the way that Charles Leclerc was driving that, because, yes, we can talk about McLaren's mismanagement or not quite getting the strategy right today, but it takes nothing from what we have seen today from Ferrari, from what we've seen from Charles Leclerc, because even if Lando and Oscar had switched positions and we didn't see what we saw, Ferrari still one-stopped it and nobody else could. Will, it was a masterclass, you've just called it.
Yeah, it was. We've seen two masterclasses from Ferrari in 2 weeks. First in Zandvoort to pull off the undercut and get Charles on the podium. Secondly today, to take that risk and get that reward. Phenomenal. And for years, we've questioned the decision-making on the Ferrari pit wall. And of late, you can no longer do that. We've had to switch attention to McLaren instead. Brilliant. A masterclass. 2 weeks in a row. Sensational.
Will Fred Vasseur get a knighthood or a similar equivocal honour here in Italy? What may he get?
I don't know, but already is a legend for the fans, and with this one after Monte Carlo is going to be even more. Okay, the weekend was magical, tifosi, crowd, everything, podium, but you need to have also the talent of the driver that execute the fantastic strategy that Ferrari gave to him. And just at the end, it was like, as Alex said, he made the details working for him. And when at certain points the engineer said, come on, move the brake balance, I'll do it. Don't tell me 10 times. Yeah. I mean, I can feel it, and I have the talent to understand when I need it. I mean, okay, the weekend was magical. You need the talent of that man. And Leclerc was just perfect.
The king of Monza today. Let's hear from him, shall we?
Hey Charles, I imagine this was a win that might not have seemed possible at the start of the day, but dreams do come true. Just talk me through how good it feels right now.
Yeah, dreams do repeat themselves as well, I should say, because it was a dream in 2019 and in 2019, and it was a dream in 2024, and yeah, it's been again a very special moment. It's a very special week. It's a very tiring week in every good way is possible, but a very tiring one with a lot of attention, a lot of things to do, and but yeah, to finish it like this with a win is just incredibly special, and I'm so incredibly happy today. So it's great. It's a long season still, and it doesn't end here, and we've got to bounce back just like we did now in Baku, but we've also got to enjoy the moment, and it's a very special one.
How did you manage to make those tyres last? I think early on it felt like maybe you shouldn't have pitted so early when they undercut you, and then you've made them work. And just talk me through those emotions as well, try to keep hold of them.
Yeah, lots of emotions. I mean, we stopped quite early, but still too late, because Lando actually undercut us, and there I was, okay, maybe the race is going away from us, and also Oscar had a good pace. But I didn't demotivate myself. I kept pushing and tried to keep those tires just to have most freedom on the 1 or 2 stops. We wanted to make the one-stop work at the beginning. Then we saw Red Bull struggling with the hard, and we were like, maybe the 2 stops is better. So that's why we stopped early, and then there was a long way to go. But then once the two McLaren stopped, I found a lot more grip, not having the dirt here of Oscar in front, and the pace came back to us. So from that moment onward, I was like, why not try it? And the team obviously said it as well. So we were both aligned, and it's great. Today, the team has done an exceptional job.
Great stuff, congrats.
Thank you.
This man must have extraordinary emotional management, because he's picked up 2 wins this season, one of which was in Monaco, which meant more than anything, more than the world to him. And the next is at the home race of the team, where it matters and means the most, and they haven't done it since Monza 2019. Will, you had a question?
Well, and he did Monaco with insane tyre management as well. So my question is, and if you know, please let us know on hashtag F1TV.
F1 Live's the
hashtag F1 Live, is that the hashtag?
Yeah.
Good at this. How many years have we been doing this? Hashtag F1 Live. When was the last time a driver's first 2 victories in a season were the anthems that are played for him in order? Because you get the Monegasque anthem and then the Italian anthem when Charles Leclerc wins. And he won in Monaco and now in Monza.
Okay, any statisticians
Answers
out
on a
there?
postcard to
yeah,
hashtag
please
F1 Live.
send in your answers. Finally then, just a reaction to the emotions, to the drama we've seen today, Davide.
Seems that Leclerc is getting himself ready for Hamilton. I mean, next year he has to resist to the impact of the 7-time world champion. It seems that he's keep improving. I think he's almost there. We'll see. Could be interesting.
Ferrari bring an upgrade package. It works. They win. Bring on the next 8 races. I cannot wait. But McLaren have got to get their head in the game, or they're gonna lose it all.
Thank you, Will. 8 points then is the lead for Red Bull over McLaren in the constructor standings. 39 points for Ferrari. So it is getting tight in those standings, and Lando Norris has closed the gap ever so slightly on Max Verstappen. Let's take a look at where we are heading next and the schedule for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So weekend warm-up will be at 4:30 local time, and then we head, of course, into free practice Friday. 1:15 p.m. we'll be building up to that one. 4:45 for FP2, 12:15 for FP3, and then our pre-qualifying show at 3:30. And on Sunday, we have a 2 p.m. start for the pre-race show ahead of a 51-lap Azerbaijan Grand Prix that will be starting at 3 p.m. And Baku is a circuit I absolutely love. I can't wait to be heading back there. Right, guys, thank you both very much indeed. It's been a brilliant, brilliant weekend, hasn't it? It's been dramatic, it's been full of emotion. Davide, as ever, an absolute treat to have you back in the team with us as well. Have you enjoyed it?
Possible, this one.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You said at the start of the weekend, it's Ferrari's going to win. And we were like, no.
It's McLaren's weekend, but no, it was not. It belongs to Ferrari. It belongs to Charles Leclerc. Thank you all so much for watching the Italian Grand Prix with us here in Monza. We'll see you again in Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Bye for now.
This is a showdown. It's going to be a good one.
This is Azerbaijan.
Everybody ready? It's Let's go! We're underway!
Look how close they are for the lead.
Back on the streets.
Oh my word, he's done it! What a move that is! Sensational stuff. That was wild. Oh, the crowd loved that.